Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Koala English Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Jade. And today, we're talking about something that can be exciting and a little bit stressful, too.
Yes, first dates.
First dates. That moment when you like someone, but you're not quite sure what's going to happen.
Exactly. And first dates are a perfect topic for learning phrasal verbs because English speakers use them all the time when talking about dating and relationships.
So today, we're going to talk about first dates through a little story before the date, during the date, and after the date, and along the way. We'll explain some very common phrasal verbs that native speakers use naturally.
And don't worry, we'll explain everything slowly and clearly inside the conversation so you can understand and actually use these phrases yourself.
Let's start at the beginning. Before a first date, you have to ask someone out.
Yes, ask someone out is a very common phrasal verb. It means to invite someone to go on a date with you.
And this is a phrasal verb that takes an object, and it can be separated.
Right? You can say, I asked my friend out, or I asked out my friend. And if you use a pronoun, you must separate it. I asked her out.
Let's imagine a situation. Maybe there's someone you work with or someone you met at a cafe.
And you're thinking about them a lot.
You might say, I finally asked him out last night.
Or she asked me out for coffee.
In Australia, the US, and the UK, asking someone out doesn't have to be very formal. It can be very relaxed.
Yes. People often say something simple like, do you want to grab a coffee sometime? Or, would you like to go out for dinner?
You don't usually say, will you go on a date with me? That sounds a bit like a movie.
Exactly. Real life is usually more casual. After asking out, did they say yes?
So let's say the person says yes.
Great. That's already a good sign.
You might tell your friend, I asked her out, and she said yes.
Or, he finally asked me out. We're going out on Friday.
Notice here go out can mean different things.
Yes. Go out can simply mean leaving the house. But go out with someone means you're dating that person.
And go out with is a phrasal verb that cannot be separated.
You say, I'm going out with him, not I'm going out him with.
And after one date, people might still say, we went out once, or we're seeing each other.
Now let's move to the first date itself.
This is where two very important phrasal verbs come in. Get on and hit it off.
Let's start with get on. Get on means to have a good relationship with someone.
It's often used with well or really well.
For example, we got on really well.
This phrasal verb does not take an object unless you add with.
Right. You say, I get on with her, or simply, we get on really well.
So imagine the date. You're sitting in a cafe. You're talking easily. You're laughing.
After the date, you might say, we got on really well. The conversation was easy.
Now, hit it off is very similar, but a little stronger.
Yes. Hit it off means you liked each other immediately. There was a connection right away.
You might hear someone say, we hit it off straight away.
Or They met at a party and really hit it off.
This phrase is very common in dating, but also in friendships and even at work.
And culturally, English speakers love this phrase because it sounds positive and natural.
But not every first date is perfect.
That's very true.
Sometimes you don't really get on.
You might say, we didn't really get on, or we didn't have much in common.
Or the conversation didn't really flow.
Notice how soft and polite this language is. English speakers often avoid very direct negative comments.
Especially in the UK and Australia, people tend to be indirect.
So instead of saying, I didn't like him, they might say, we didn't really hit it off.
After the date, people often message their friends.
Yes. They might say, I think the date went well, or I'm not sure how I feel yet.
If things continue, they might say, we're going out with each other now.
Or we've been going out for a few weeks.
This shows that go out with often describes a developing relationship.
Of course, not all relationships last forever.
And that's where the phrasal verb break up comes in.
Break up means to end a romantic relationship.
You can simply say, they broke up.
Or if you want to add the person, you say, he broke up with her.
This is another phrasal verb that doesn't take an object unless you add with.
Culturally, English speakers often talk about breakups gently, especially in public.
You might hear, we decided to break up, which sounds calmer and more mutual. Now let's talk about settle down.
This phrasal verb is often used when people talk about long-term relationships.
Settle down means to start a more stable, serious life, often with a partner, a home, or a family.
You might hear, she's settled down now. She's married.
Or, he doesn't want to settle down yet.
This phrase is very common in Australia, the US, and the UK.
But culturally, attitudes can be different. In Australia, settling down is often talked about casually.
In the UK, people may talk about it more carefully.
And in the US, it often comes up when talking about life goals. Before we finish, let's talk briefly about culture.
On first dates in English-speaking countries, conversation is usually relaxed.
People often talk about work, hobbies, travel, or food.
Very personal questions are usually avoided at first.
And phrasal verbs help soften the language and make it sound friendly.
So today, we talked about first dates and some very common phrasal verbs.
We looked at ask out, go out with, get on, hit it off, break up, and settle down.
Try listening for these phrases in movies, podcasts, and real conversations.
And try using one or two the next time you talk about relationships.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, where we break down real English in simple, practical ways.
Thanks so much for listening to the Koala English Podcast. And we'll talk to you again very soon.